Alright guys, so today we're going to break apart numbers with multiplication like we have been doing, but we're going to focus really hard on the distributive property. So the first thing you're going to do when you see a number like this, 4 times 31, is we're going to break that apart into tens and ones. So here's my tens, here's my ones, and if I'm going to have 31, that means I have 3 tens and 1 1. That shows 31. Well, we're going to do 4 groups of that 31. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this 4 times. So there's 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups of 31. And when I do this, essentially what I've done is I have shown that we are going to break apart 31 into 30 and 1, and we're going to multiply both of those numbers by 4. That means that the problem 4 times 31 is equal to 4 times how many tens? 3 tens plus 1 1. That's what this problem is showing, that 4 times 31 is showing us 4 groups of 3 tens and 1 1. 3 tens and 1 1, when we add those together, equals 31. Now, once we get this problem done, we're going to separate this set of parentheses, this expression, into 2 separate parts. So we have 30 plus 1. So what that looks like, we will be doing 4 times the tens, which is 3 tens, plus, still multiplying by 4, times 1 1. So we're multiplying all of our tens by 4, we're multiplying all of our ones by 4. Now when we get to this point, all we're going to do is we're going to start solving those. 4 times 3 tens is the same thing as 12 tens. 4 times 1 1 is the same thing as 4 ones. This is written in unit form. Now we're going to just rewrite it in standard form. Well, 12 tens, I know that tens means I add 1 0 behind a number. So that means 12 tens is the same thing as 120. And 4 ones is the same thing as 4. So 120 plus 4. To find our final answer, we're just going to add these two partial products together. And that gets us to 124 as our final answer. So again, all we did that was a little bit different is we split up our 31 into 30 and 1, so our tens and ones, and wrote it in unit form. 4 times the 3 tens, 4 times the 1 1, and we just break that apart slowly. And this is what you're going to be doing today, exactly like this. So now you're welcome to go ahead on your whiteboard and do the next problem with me, so that you can practice this, and then you're going to be practicing this with our sub. Now the next problem we're going to do, let's do 3 times 22. 3 times 22. So if we're going to break this apart into tens and ones, that means we have 2 tens, because this is in our tens place, and we have 2 ones. Okay, 2 tens, 2 ones. If that gets a little confusing, you can always just draw your chart. Here's our tens and ones. So we have 2 tens in 22, so there's 2 tens, and we have 2 in our ones place, so 2 ones. And that is still showing that we have 2 tens plus 2 ones to make the number 22. And for this word, or for this expression, we are multiplying all of that by 3. So we are going to do 3 groups of that, which means we are going to multiply 3 by all of this, the 2 tens plus the 2 ones. That is our expression, and we call this the distributive property. And this looks a little complicated, but if we break this apart into 2 separate equations, it makes it so much easier for us. So we're going to always multiply by what's on the outside, so 3 times our first set, which is 2 tens, And that's in parentheses because we want to do that together. And we're going to also do 3 groups of 2 ones. Now I've written this in distributive property with our unit form. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is solve what's in the parentheses, and we're just going to bring it right down. So 3 times 2 is 6, and those are 6 tens. 3 times 2 is 6, and these ones are 6 ones. And then we're just going to put it into standard form. Well, we know that 6 tens is the same thing as 60, and we know that 6 ones is the same thing as 6. And that equals a final total of 66. With our diagram, if we're just using the chart, you can see that this 3 tens. Just kidding. Okay, so we have 2 tens here and 2 ones. And I'm going to do that 3 times. So I'm going to do 2 tens, 2 ones, 2 tens, 2 ones. So now I'm showing 3 groups of 2 tens, and I'm showing 3 groups of 2 ones. That's what this part is showing on our model. And when I look at my totals, that means I have 6 of those tens, and I have 6 of those ones. That's where we're getting the 6 tens, 6 ones. And then we're looking at what does that actually mean? What is the value of that number? And so 6 tens, we know that is worth 60. We know that 6 ones are just 1 each, so they're worth 1. And that's where we're getting those numbers. So this number, 3 times 22, when we break it into our expanded form, this is what we're going to look for. Be really respectful for this sub, and I want you guys to practice some of these on your whiteboard before we do our class workbook. Thank you, guys.